Yes,
In that scene where Nala reunites with Simba, there's something different about her. It's like her innocence is gone. She looks like she's been running, not just from danger, but from something deeper. Or someone. Maybe even a life sentence? Ever wonder why Nala, out of all the lionesses, was the one who left the Pride Lands to find help? Well, the truth is she didn't just leave to save the kingdom. She was running for her life, and there's a deleted scene that reveals everything. But before we explore that scene, let's rewind the story a bit. We all remember that devastating moment when Mufasa fell to his death, right? That slow-motion leap, Simba's scream echoing through the canyon, trauma with a capital T. Scar steps in, takes over, and turns the once vibrant Pride Lands into a dusty, dry wasteland with zero vibes. From the outside looking in, the Lion King gives us a very simple explanation. Scar is a bad king. Bad kings make bad decisions. That's why the land dies, the animals leave, and the hyenas run around like they own the place. Classic villain mistake, putting the clowns in charge of the kingdom. And while all that's happening, Simba is out in the jungle doing the complete opposite of royal responsibilities. He's eating bugs, dancing on logs, singing about how life means no worries. Now back at Pride Rock, things are bad. The lionesses are starving, the hyenas are hunting the food, and the once proud hunters are now basically servants in their own land. And in the middle of this collapse, we get one of the most curious twists in the film. Nala leaves. Not Sarabai, Mufasa's widow. Not some nameless background lioness. It's Nala. And somehow she not only makes it out of the Pride Lands alive, but she also finds Simba in the middle of a jungle thousands of miles away. Disney plays it like Nala left to find help, found Simba. Simba comes back. Simba fights Scar. Kingdom restored. The end. But let's pause that story for a moment, because if you've ever truly thought about this part, really thought about it, you realize just how weird it is. Think about it. Why would Scar even allow Nala to leave in the first place? Why would he let anyone leave? He's a paranoid tyrant. He surrounds himself with cackling hyenas, spies on everyone, and keeps tight control over what's left of the kingdom.
Yet out of the ashes of this tragedy, we shall rise to greet the dawning of a new era, in which lion and hyena come together.
Letting someone just stroll off into the unknown? That's not very Scar-like. So we have to assume two things here. Either Nala left without his permission, which is incredibly dangerous, or she had a very, very good reason to risk it all, even death, to escape. Because let's be real, this wasn't some peaceful diplomatic mission. This was a flee for your life, hope you don't die of dehydration or get eaten kind of trip. And yet, she made it. But the question still stands. Why her? Why Nala? Let's talk about what that journey actually meant. Nala didn't pack snacks, didn't have a travel buddy, and wasn't exactly following Google Maps. She left the Pride Lands completely alone without knowing what was out there. That's lioness in a drought-season savanna alone. Hyenas, leopards, starvation, thirst. This wasn't a Disney princess escape. It was barely survivable, and yet she did it. Which again begs the question, why would she risk all that? Desperation? Sure. But maybe something more personal, something darker. This brings us to scene Disney didn't want you to see. It's a deleted scene that was written and partially animated for The Lion King. In it, Scar actually proposes to Nala. Yep, you heard that right.
Nala! My, how you've grown.
Scar, the same Scar who orchestrated Mufasa's death and let the Pride Lands rot under his rule, actually turns to young Nala and tries to make her his queen. And no, it's not some regal, loving proposal. It's gross. It's creepy. And it's the exact kind of power move a manipulative villain like Scar would try to pull. He basically said something that sounded like this. You know, you really have no choice. One way or another, I always get what I want. Let that sink in. This wasn't about love. It wasn't even about companionship. It was about control. Scar wanted to dominate every part of the kingdom, including the lionesses. And making Nala his queen, that was his way of stamping total authority over the next generation. Now imagine being Nala in that moment. She's young, she's smart, and she's watching the land crumble. She's watching her people starve. And then the guy who destroyed her world turns around and says, "Hey, how about you and me? Forever?" Absolutely not. That deleted scene gives us a deeper, darker version of Scar than what we saw in the theatrical cut. And honestly, it makes way more sense. Because think about it, Scar's the kind of ruler who'd destroy his own family for power. You really think he'd stop at emotional manipulation? Of course not. He's unhinged, he's arrogant, and worst of all, he believes he's doing the right thing. Now, this is the missing puzzle piece that makes Nala's escape suddenly click. It wasn't just about getting help, it was about getting out. Scar wasn't just a bad king, he was a predator in every sense of the word. And Nala wasn't on a noble mission to save the kingdom. She was running for her life. And Disney? They probably realized that whole Scar forcing himself on Nala angle was a little too real for a movie about singing warthogs and Hakuna Matata. So they cut it. But the hints are still there. Go back and watch the film with this context in mind. Look at Nala's expression when she says, "Simba, you have to come back." There's urgency in her voice. Desperation. Like she knows the clock is ticking. She didn't just want Simba back to reclaim the throne, she needed him back to stop Scar from taking everything, including her. This wasn't a love story. It was a rescue mission. Now you get it, right? Nala didn't just run because the kingdom was dying. She ran because Scar cornered her. Saying no to the king in a dictatorship? That's not just rebellious, that's dangerous. If she had stayed, she likely would have been forced into becoming Scar's queen. Or worse, she would have lived a life of torment, fear, and total submission. So Nala did what any strong lioness would do. She ran. She escaped. She risked her life to survive. And maybe, just maybe, to find someone who could take Scar down. She wasn't just on a mission to save the Pride Lands. She was saving herself. So, why did Disney cut the scene? Now, let's be honest. This scene is intense, and Disney decided it was too dark for a family film. I mean, The Lion King already had a brutal death, creepy hyenas, and ghost dads in the sky. But this? A dictator forcing marriage on a young lioness? That crossed the line. So they cut it. But in doing so, they trimmed away a huge part of Scar's villainy and Nala's bravery. In the final film, Scar is evil, but in this deleted version, he's terrifying. And Nala, she's not just brave, she's resilient, she's a survivor, she's the first to say no and the first to get out. It is safe to say Nala's the real hero of the story. Rewatch The Lion King with this in mind, and Nala's story hits completely differently. She wasn't some loyal side character chasing after Simba. She was the one who risked everything to stop Scar. She escaped tyranny, survived the wild, found the lost prince, dragged him back to his destiny, and stood up to the lion who ruled with fear. Honestly, she's the real MVP. So next time someone talks about Simba being the hero, remind them Simba had to be pushed. Nala chose to act. Had you heard about this deleted scene before? Drop a comment below. I want to know your thoughts. Was Disney right to cut it? Or should we have seen just how terrifying Scar really was? And hey, if this video blew your mind even a little, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.